Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Global Village Podcast. I'm Naomi.
And I'm Johnson. It's great to have you here again.
Today, we're talking about something close to my heart good habits in learning English and how to improve your level quickly but steadily.
Yes, we'll share practical tips and also talk about some challenges that learners face when moving from B1 to B2 or even to C1. Naomi, you're aiming for B2 now, right?
Exactly. I feel comfortable at B1, but when I try to speak or write more complex ideas, I notice my limits. So I'm excited to learn from you, Johnson.
That's normal. Many learners feel a plateau between levels. To move past it, consistency is key. One of my best habits was setting a small amount of study time every day, even just 20 or 30 minutes.
I have days where I study a lot and then days where I do nothing. Maybe I should focus on shorter, regular sessions.
Exactly. Regular exposure helps your brain retain information. I used a spaced repetition system for vocabulary. It's a way to review words just before you forget them. That helped me remember new expressions and phrasal verbs.
I like that idea. I also struggle with speaking. At B1, I can communicate, but I often search for words. What did you do to improve your fluency?
Speaking regularly is essential. I joined an online conversation club and practiced with native speakers. At first, I was nervous, but repetition builds confidence. Also, record yourself. When you listen back, you can hear your pronunciation and notice errors.
That's smart. I sometimes write a journal in English, but I don't know if it's correct. Should I ask someone to check it?
Yes, feedback is vital. You can use language exchange apps or find a tutor who can correct your writing. When aiming for B2, you need more accuracy in grammar and structure. For example, using linking words like however, therefore, and varying your sentence types. Having someone point out recurring mistakes helps you correct them.
I see. What about reading? I read short articles, but sometimes the vocabulary is too simple.
To reach B2 and above, you need to expose yourself to more authentic materials, blogs, news, or graded readers at an upper intermediate level. When you read, note down new collocations. Don't just learn single words. For instance, instead of learning decision, learn make a decision.
That makes sense. Learning in chunks can save time. I've heard that listening to podcasts also helps.
Definitely. Listen to a variety of topics and accents. At B1, you might understand slow speech, but at B2, you're expected to follow natural conversations. Try listening actively. Pause the podcast, repeat sentences, shadow the speaker's intonation. It improves both listening and speaking.
What habits helped you reach C1? It sounds quite advanced.
At C1, you need to express complex ideas naturally. I broadened my vocabulary by reading widely novels, research articles, essays. I also practiced paraphrasing, saying the same idea in different words. That way, even if I forgot a specific term, I could still express myself.
Paraphrasing sounds useful, especially in exams. Were there any specific writing habits that helped?
Yes, I wrote essays on different topics and then compared my writing to model answers. I paid attention to cohesion and coherence, making sure each paragraph had a clear idea and that the text flowed. I also learned to use a range of formal and informal expressions appropriately. For example, using phrasal verbs in informal emails, but avoiding them in formal letters.
What was hard for you when moving to C1?
One challenge was understanding idiomatic expressions and jokes. Sometimes the literal meaning didn't make sense. To overcome that, I watched films and series with subtitles, paused and looked up unfamiliar idioms, then tried to use them in conversation. Also, I focused on pronunciation and stress patterns. At a higher level, small pronunciation issues can make you sound less natural.
That's true. I often find connected speech difficult. People speak so fast that I can't catch individual words.
A good habit is shadowing, listening and repeating at the same time. It trains your ear to hear sounds together and improves your rhythm. Slow down the audio if you need to.
Thank you. And what about motivation? Sometimes I feel tired and lose interest.
Motivation goes up and down. That's why habits are important. When learning becomes automatic, you don't rely solely on motivation. However, set small goals and celebrate them, like finishing a book or having a 10-minute conversation without hesitation. Also, find topics you enjoy. If you love cooking, listen to cooking shows in English. It's more fun and engaging.
That's great advice. For other learners like me, what should they pay attention to when moving to B2?
Pay attention to grammar accuracy, complex tenses, conditionals, reported speech, vocabulary expansion, collocations, phrasal verbs, idioms, discourse markers. On the other hand, in addition, as a result, pronunciation, stress, and intonation patterns. Functional language, expressing opinions, agreeing, disagreeing, speculating. For C1, you add a layer of precision and style, more nuance, formal register, and cultural references.
It sounds challenging, but your tips make it feel possible.
So to recap, good habits for effective language learning include consistent study, spaced repetition for vocabulary, regular speaking practice, active listening and reading, writing with feedback, and setting clear goals. Moving from B1 to B2 requires more accuracy and a wider range of expressions. C1 demands higher sophistication and cultural awareness.
I've learned a lot today. I'll start with small daily study sessions, join a conversation club, and write more regularly. I'll also pay attention to new collocations and try shadowing.
That's a solid plan. Remember, progress may seem slow, but steady effort leads to big improvements.
Thank you, Johnson, for sharing your experience and advice. And thank you, listeners, for tuning in.
We hope these tips inspire you on your English learning journey. If you have questions or want to share your own habits, leave us a comment. See you in the next episode of Global Village Podcast.
Bye, everyone. Keep learning and stay disciplined.